Okay. So a few things have happened over the weekend, and I don't want to say I told you so, but I feel like I should say I told you so. I mean, when I say that it's almost exactly, I feel like it. I feel like Donald Trump was listening to my live and was like, "That's a good idea. Let me dangle a potential sort of conversation and talks on Monday, and then on the weekend when the markets are closed, do all the dirty. You know what I mean? What an insane moment that we're going through. A lot of complications, a lot of implications. We're going to be talking about a bit of a recap on the war, so we can go through, we can have a bit of a chat about that. We're going to be talking about some really interesting things. That we're going to have a look at an old Trump video, which was really funny. It's hilarious. He's pretty much planned exactly what's going on, although he said, anyway, we'll go through it. You'll see that. We'll talk about the S&P 500. We'll talk about crypto. We'll talk about the dollar. And at the end of this, I don't know if you've seen this video going around, but there is a theory about what all of this is actually encompassing. And after we go through today's stream and show, it wraps up everything perfectly to an extent where you're just sitting there going, wow. If there is any truth to what we're going to be getting to, yeah, it's gonna be a moment. That's all I'm gonna say. It's going to be a moment. It's gonna be absolutely insane. I just don't know how else to describe it, but it's gonna be a good one, right? So in that time, before that, make sure you follow, make sure you press the bell. You don't want to miss these. Remember, this is the best crypto show on the internet, and I don't care what anyone else says. No one else can prove differently. I give more alpha than anyone else, and we can go through there. Right. Let's set everything up so I can see people chatting and stuff like that. William Watson, flip bullish, get shorts ready. But that doesn't mean anything. I'm going to get to a whole bunch of stuff in a second. Let me just put this to the side so I can see the chat as well. Oop. All right. Okay. Is the chat working on the tube? That's the real question. Is the tap working on the tube? Let's see. Can someone tap something here? Let me see what this. All right. You hear the quality of the sound. That's how you know. Actually, let me just share this into the Alpha Hunters group. And we can get that moving. Right. Let's get this into here. And then we can go from there. Right. Now, what is it? What is going on? So, Donald Trump, after saying he's not going to do anything, sent the troops and basically went full port into Iran. I mean, we all know what's going on. We were all watching it. We're all seeing what's happening. But the implications of this is quite wide-reaching, quite interesting to understand. And if you really look into a whole lot of things, there might be other reasons for why people are going into, why they went into to Iran, and what could be the real understanding. I mean, if we look through what's been done at this present moment, we've seen that America's go in, Iran do very somewhat limited response, and the aim and the name of the game right now is whether this is escalatory or de-escalation. If this is going to be a continuous escalating type of conflict, buckle up. We may be doing some good things today. Markets might be relying and moving in a good positive direction, but this has a completely inverse relationship to how long this goes, to how long that we stay good in the market right now. It is extremely important that you understand that and not be fooled by market structures and short-term moves and this, that, and the other. You just have to be careful about what's going on, and we will move on from there. One thing that's going on, one of the biggest news out there, is that the main man, Ayatollah himself, looks like he has been removed from power. But the way the system the way the system moves forward in Iran is that the Ayatollah is not, there are two leaderships in that country. One, a religious leader, and one, a political leader. The political leader is still there. Everything's fine. The problem is, right? The problem is they removed the religious leader and they've basically made him into a martyr. Now, we need to understand what implications this actually has, because from what I can understand, there is a section of the population that love what's going on. Amazing, incredible, things are going great. Oh my God, let's get regime change, all good. And it's usually the younger, more modern crowd. But what people don't really get is that there is also a religious underground there that do like this guy. They saw him as their religious leader. They saw them as a way as their, as their religious leader. And when you have a religious leader that is removed by a foreign body, and they love this type of creator, I'm not saying that they do, and there's a lot of question marks and if, buts, and maybes there, a lot of different ways to think about it. You create him as a martyr, and then you get interesting tweets about things I can't talk about. But there's a terminology in Islamic scripture. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. And if you look it up, they're calling for that. Now, there are some serious players out there that could cause a lot of guerrilla pain in the market. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this goes. It's still very, very early. If anyone thinks that the market's not reacting to right now, everything looks good, that's great. I'm sure it's going to be like that forever. But, we'll get into that. There's a lot of medium, long term, and everything else that's going on there. Damn, the background looks nice, man. Now you're looking like a pro. I was always a pro. I just needed to, do stuff, right? Have you seen my, you guys have to go to the tube to see it. Have you seen my Banksy? That's a real Banksy note, by the way, right there. Guys on the tickety talk can't see it, but there's a Banksy note right there. That's a real one. I was given to sorry. It was given as a gift to me once from someone that I can't talk about. But yeah, that's where we are, and that's the situation. Now, if we look at what is going on at the moment with the charts, right? We've seen Bitcoin rally like a crazy person, right? An absolute crazy rally, as if like there is no care in the world. Things look like everything is great. Now, this could have one of two directions it can go. Real two directions it can go. And I think, to be honest, this could be a test of a certain zone. Real could. Like, it could be a test of a certain zone, but you guys have to listen a bit more before I say that to you. Now, let's get into the crux of the show and see what are the things that we can really understand to go through in this market. Now, what's going on and the real issue that we need to balance to understand what is the real outcome of this. And it is all around oil. We need to understand whether what's happening there is going to really actually affect the oil market, because that's going to be a overwhelming understanding of what's going on and what it is, right? What it is, and what's really, really important to understand is that oil has multiple effects that it can do. Some positive, some negative, and some unexpected that most people aren't thinking about, right? Which could have positive effects for the market, right? Especially in the markets that we're in, and also extreme negative effects. And it's all relation to what's going to happen. Now, if we look at what Iran has done so far, we can see clearly that they are coming after certain areas, right? We're clearly seeing that they're looking to push into the oil market and do other interesting things, because if we look at and see what's going on, they have gone in and gone after pretty much every single Gulf country there is, right? New streaming setup looks crispy. Hey, Ski, how you doing? It's a bit crispy. I was looking at you. I was like, you know what? His streaming so gig is at like maximum level. I need to go like, wait, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I need to copy his streaming setup, so we have to do it this way. But you know, unfortunately, my other account is not there. Apparently, I'm impersonating someone and a human trafficker, so I don't know how that works, right? So what the situation is going on right now is that they supposedly have closed the Strait of Hormuz, and on top of that, they're going after all of the neighboring countries, which seem to be mainly oil, and going after all of the military bases. Now, the thing is, information is sketchy, right? We really don't know what is real, what isn't real, what's going on. And this disinformation service that's going around is very, very difficult to understand. So all of this has to be within the understanding of pinch of salt, right? Now, if this oil situation starts going up, it's going to have some very, very interesting side effects, right? These side effects mainly are going to be effective on the price of oil. And the more that this gets interrupted, the more that they close what's going on and what's moving forward and what is happening, the higher the price of oil is going to get, because over 20-25% of all oil and natural gas passes through this strait. And there is a massive difference with the type of oil that goes from here to what happens everywhere else, right? Now, so USA attacks Iran and all of a sudden Bitcoin is pumping. I'm going to get to that. The last thing I'm going to talk about today is going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind. I'm telling you, it's way, way, way worth listening all the way through. It's going to take, I need to set it all up, because when I tie it in a bow, you're going to be sitting there going, damn, damn, right? Tell me now, please. Unfortunately, no. I know that you have a limited time in the bathroom, but yeah, tell me now is not going to happen. Right. I want to follow too. All right, fantastic. Join. Now, if they block this and the supply chains are all gone and this and the other, and how the type of oil that they have, it's called sweet oil, right? It means it's low sulfur, easy to produce, easy to actually take out the ground, and easy to ship through pipes and a whole bunch of other stuff, and actually easy to refine and get everything sorted out. This 20 to 25%, as people say, oh, it's only 20 to 25%, is billions of barrels. This will have a absolute massive. How do you know I'm in the bathroom? It's my crowd, man. It's my crowd. This is going to have an absolute major effect, even though oil is only up 10% today, which is not a lot, right? This will continue as time goes by, right? Now, the effect of that is going to be mainly the price of oil going to go up. But there is a side effect to this. Which it may, short term, you're telling me something we don't know already. Okay, if you wait, there's this amazing thing you can do, right? If you flick up, you can go to people that might tell you something different. I think that's what you want to do, to down auto. So just flick up, and then you'll miss all the other stuff I'm going to be telling you. Yeah, so that, if you didn't, oh God, anyway, everyone just spoils the flow of what I'm doing, and I'm trying to get to it now. This looks so damn good, bro. Yeah, well, you know what it is. It's just how it works. Have you seen my Banksy? My Banksy. I'm getting my what's it called? Statues coming in as well. I have two statues that one's gonna go here, and the other one's gonna go here. They're coming from Greece, from my house in Greece. All right, you're gonna see it. There's some, yeah. I'm gonna show you some stuff, right? Yeah. So the unattended effect of this, right? Alpha, my congratulations for changing room. Looks more professional now. Thank you so much. It's taking its sweet time, but we had to. Part of the reason was maybe that's why they captured Venezuela. Well, that's not the thing, right? The oil in Venezuela and the oil in the Gulf are completely different things. The oil in Venezuela is heavy and high sulfur and actually can't be transported through pipes. So they have to be shipped through ships and everything else. On top of that, there's no supply chains that have been established for that to go to America, even though America has the ability to refine that. The problem is to get to a point where they can actually refine this and get it to a point where it can recover the amount that they need to do would be astronomically difficult, expensive, and it won't happen in enough time, right? There's not enough time for this thing to show. Like, so let me show you some a few interesting things here, right? Check this out. Glad that you asked that question. Now, if we look at Venezuelan oil, right? If you look at Venezuelan oil, it is leagues different than the ones that you see in the Gulf. Absolute leagues different, right? On top of that, all the oil is based around this region here. And there is, and I mean this in the best possible way, only one route by trucks that gets to a port that none of the American ships can dock at, right? I just want you to understand this, right? Right? They can't even dock at it. On top of that, right? Have you seen their facilities? You don't look at them and go, wow, they're state of the art. Wow, they're state of the art facilities to upgrade this, to get the supply chains, to get all the ships, to do all of the things that you need to do, right? They actually got an upgrade, Joey, right? I've been talking about it. Everyone was like, oh, I bet you that's not even happening. Yeah, there we go, right? To get all of this sorted out would take, you know how much it would take? Do you know how much it would take? Because we know. The American companies have already done this. Not in Venezuela. They did it in Canada. They're already refining this oil in Canada. And do you know how much it cost for them to get it to a point where they can get that heavy oil to America? In fact, I'm going to ask you guys, give me a guess on how much they invested to get what's up, Todd? How you doing, man? How'd you like the new gig? It's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. How much do you think they invested to get the Canadian oil back to? All right, Bart, you're kind of like annoying me, man. That's exactly how much they invested. Did you just Google that? Did you just go, you know what? I'm going to Google that. I'm going to be the good one. Yeah, $500 billion. $500 billion and 10 years. $500 billion and 10 years to get it to a point where they can extract the heavy oil, almost identical to Venezuela, to a point to do that. So, bruv, don't think Venezuela has any effect. It will have a little bit of an effect, but no effect. But I'll say this to you, right? I don't think America wants that. And it's because of one very simple thing to understand. Very simple thing. And it all revolves around this bad boy. It all revolves around this guy, right? Because the effect of what oil prices going up will mean the dollar goes up, because oil in most part is traded in the dollar. And if you want to see something very, very interesting, to the guy that says I'm not telling everyone that they don't know anything yet, because I need to just like shout at you continuously. Right? To give every information instantaneously, blah, 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 right? If you want to see something very, very interesting, check this out. There is something that America is, one second, where are we here? There's something that America is in a surplus in. America has a trade surplus in oil. So they are exporting more than they're importing. And what this will do in the short term, this is a short-term thing, right? This is a short-term thing, will cause the dollar to go up and technically cause increased income, increased sort of income into the US economy. And that's partly the reason why the US stock market is going up at the moment. Because short term, there is a massive injection of liquidity, right? And all of this on top of what's been happening in the USA, where there's been a full-blown internalization of all companies exporting from the USA, is only going to bring in a lot of product, right? Now, there's a few things and other aspects that we need to understand to make sure that this is clear, because there are unforeseen aspects here. Because if the USA is exporting more, if the majority of the world is in the US dollar, we get to a point where the strength of the dollar and its importance in the petrodollar becomes more and more and more and more important, right? This is what the situation goes through, and that's what's happening. Now, if this conflict goes on more and the oil prices increase as it goes on and on and on and on and on, we start getting into a bit of a weird place, right? And the weird place is this. American companies are not just American. Most of the wealth of American companies come through multinational companies. So if their earnings are abroad and the cost of the dollar is increasing, that means that their earnings abroad start to diminish. This is why the time span between how long this is going to last to how long that we go forward is extremely important. That's why short term, we may see a move up. Short term. 1 second. Short term, we might see a trade up. 1 second. But longer term, as this goes on, it will start to have effects to a lot of companies in the economy, and that will only start to push the S&P 500 down and cause another unforeseen issue, which is liquidity stress. There are other countries around the world that rely on the dollar, and if the dollar is going up, their debt is going to be difficult to gain, and because of that, the amount of demand for dollar will start going down. The amount of trade that's done with the USA starts going down because it becomes too expensive. So there is this sweet spot that we're in right now, for the time being, that will make America really strong and will make things move forward. However, the longer this takes, the longer this goes, the longer we get to a point where the stress starts appearing, the more it will go, damn, your setup is fire, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, right? The more it starts to get to a point where things will go down. This is why at the end I'm going to be describing a lot of explaining what the potential of what we could see in Bitcoin, what we could see in the markets, what we could see in a lot of things to move forward. So that's the situation at the moment. At the moment, the USA is gaining because of the cost of oil, them being a net exporter, and that is going to be looking really, really good moving forward for the market short term. That is why I genuinely think that we could be seeing Bitcoin test its prior range. And that prior range sits roughly around the 74.5 to 75,000. There is a chance that this could be the case. But the problem is, if this war, and just please remember what I'm saying this, if this is the only thing that you take, because I can get into oh my God, new studio, thank you so much, appreciate it. If this war lasts more than 3 weeks, right? If this lasts more than 3 weeks, it will definitely be, in my humble opinion, this is just my thought, right? A lower high, as Rooster just said. It will definitely be a lower high, because the benefits of what we're seeing right now, because don't forget, America is a war economy, right? It does well in these type of scenarios. The more that happens, the more issues that go forward. Also, we need to also understand this. We see what Iran is doing by going after US allies within the region. They're not only putting stress within the straits and everything else on that level, but also political stress. Their political stress that they're dealing with at this present moment is that these countries, such as Dubai, for example, right, are going to be knocking at Donald Trump's door and going, hey, remember all those trillions of dollars that we're giving you in trade? Remember that? You know that? You know the $1 trillion trade thing? You know what we're talking about? Yeah, bruv, sort it out, right? Sort it out. And that's the thing that's really important to understand. So this is a ticking something, right? Things that tick. There's a tick to it. And that's the situation. Are you from Iran? I love Iranian people. 3 of my closest friends are Iranian. They're amazing. So this is a ticking situation, which in the short term should show some good potential positivity and move up. And it looks like we're in a good situation at this present moment. But undoubtedly, I cannot see this being finished before three weeks. I cannot see it. Even though even though Donald Trump said it's gonna be a 3-week, it's gonna be amazing, shock and awe, and we came in and we just obliterated everything. We obliterated everything. It's beautiful. Oh my God, this is like fireworks. All this kind of stuff. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We need to understand that Iran is 3 times the size of Iraq. Right? How long did that take? And if they are actually moving for a regime change, if they're actually moving for that, it's going to take forever to do that. And this is going to be a war of attrition, and it will only lead down to a point where everything starts going down. There's only a certain amount of time that this will happen, right? Good evening. Look at you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have you seen my digs? Have you seen my Banksy? All right. Anyway, whatever. So that's where we're sitting at this present moment. We need to understand that, and it's really, really important to make it clear in your mind. Short term, great. Longer term, bad, right? So I would say if things go well, right? If things go well, I think that this month potentially could be green. Potentially, right? Or even if it's to half the amount, it could be half, right? Yeah, there's a lot of movement that we can do in these charts, right? And if we look at Bitcoin at this present moment, right? Look at a smaller time frame here. I would not be surprised if we don't see a 50% retrace from where we are. As I always talk about, 50% retrace would go to almost exactly the a retest of the range, the SR flip, which is around the 67.6, 67.7, right? All that kind of stuff. So it is a possibility to go to that. Now, I want to show you a video, right? I want to show you guys a video. Have you guys seen this video of Donald Trump 7 years ago? I don't know if you guys watch my videos. None of you watch my videos. I don't know why no one watches my videos, right? But if you guys could follow and all that kind of stuff, I'm trying to get to a million subscribers. That would be amazing. If you guys could share and do that out as well, right? Let's have a look at this video. This is a video of Donald Trump, right? This is a video of Donald Trump talking about Biden. Now this video is amazing, all right? I just want to be very clear. This video is absolutely one of my favorite things I've ever seen. One of my friends sent this to me, right? Just wait and listen. This is him criticizing. All right, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. All right, here we go.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage. Iran can be taken down in many ways. Their population is in turmoil. They look at what's happening in Syria and other countries where it looked like it was an impossibility, and it looks like that one's going to collapse also. So Iran can be taken. I would never take the military card off the table. And it's possible that it'll have to be used because Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. But you've got to exhaust other possibilities.
This is real.
And we're in a great position to do it. They know, or they at least must know, that they're in a little bit of heat because there's a lot of pressure to attack. This is a great time to negotiate. Unfortunately, we have a president that doesn't know the first thing about negotiation. We have a real problem in the White House. So I believe that he will attack Iran sometime prior to the election because he thinks that's the only way he can get elected. Isn't it pathetic?
That has aged really bad. This is definitely not AI. I promise you can go and search it. This was him talking about Obama, about how he was like, he's just gonna do this for the midterms. He's gonna do this to not get a and I'm just like, bruh, you kind of, yeah, it's not a good look, bruh. Trump's your daddy. Get over it. I'm sure he is. I would highly agree that. I like Trump. It's just, you have to say it's a bit ironic what's going on. A little bit. It's a little bit ironic what's happening. Do you know anything about crypto or just libtar? I don't know anything about crypto. No, I don't know. You should just flick up. I think that's the best way to go. Just flick up and then you'll find someone that does. No need, just look over your views, and I know it's all right. Just my views is still small, like whatever. But it's a relief rally. I think it could be, but it could be a elongated relief rally, right? Flick up. Just do that. Just do that. If you do that, you can move away from that. The only thing that Trump thinks about is, it's ironic. Don't you think it is a bit ironic? It is a bit ironic. Look, I need to also just say that, the timing of this is almost perfect for him as well, right? There are moments and occasions where these type of things can be, distractions from other things. It could even give him powers where he could potentially, put aside the midterms, for example. There have been cases where that's been done. So we'll see, right? And then we can, what's this 5+ projects speed running? Thank you so much. I appreciate all the lovely comments that everyone's going, oh my God, I might actually turn off TikTok because I just can't deal with people. Just, you know what, I might do that. New setup. How you doing, Gus? Yeah, I'm just moving over to the other side. I can't deal with the type of conversation. If you don't like it, move on. It's the most unbelievable thing. If you don't like it, move on. I've never seen anything like it. Right. So that's the situation where we're going right now. Now, what is Bro, you need a moderator. I do, yeah. I do need. I gave a few people mods. Who'd like to be a mods to sort all this out? No, don't close it. Yeah, but it's all right. Anyone want to be a mod? Where is your mod to tidy up? Yeah, I think I need it because I just don't understand. Like they just don't listen. No, I know that, but it spoils the flow of what I'm trying to get to. You, Mr. T, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, now I'll be a mod. Yeah, sure. Anyone wants to be a mod? There you go. But I don't know if you were the one that was like, cracking up, bro. Keep speaking. Okay. Now that's the situation where we are, right? Okay. I think. 1 second. There we go. I'll just that one. There we go. All right. Cool. Anyway, all right. That's the situation where we are. Right now, what's happening? There's a tweet or a video for everything. Yeah. I know. Now, okay, fantastic. Okay, my All right, let's just. I'm just gonna have to. I'm gonna have to do that. I don't have a mod at the moment. All right, there we go. Now, what's the situation right now in the markets and what's got to be happening? Now, if we look, and I don't know if you've seen the video, right? I don't know if you've seen the video and you're trying to understand where this is going and what the situation is, right? But there is, I don't know if you guys have watched the Tucker Carlson. I don't know if we've watched the Tucker Carlson interview that describes what they believe is going to be the actual reason of why America went in. Now, I don't know how much truth there is to what's going on, right? I don't know how much truth there is. I don't know what or how much there could be truth to what's going to be going on. But the way she puts it is truly incredible, right? And if you really think about it and connect all the dots together, and you think of what could be the future and why this factor of the oil and the way that we move into to the dollar becoming more and more powerful, the oil price going up and the petrodollar aspect being strong, the more this makes sense. And it's not about Bitcoin mining, hash rate. Yeah, all that kind of stuff is important. This pump also has something to do with Wintermute being under heavy investigation, so they can't do any of their shady stuff, right? But I'm going to play you a video, right? I want to play you a video so you guys can understand how interesting this scenario is with what's going on. Now, it's got interesting music in the background and going through all of that kind of stuff, right? But it is really, really interesting to understand what's going on. And I'm going to play it to you guys here. It's really, really important to understand this and see. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's highly worth. You should search it on TikTok. You can see the full videos there. People have uploaded it and done all those kind of things at that moment. But I would highly recommend you go and see what that's going on. But I'm going to play it to you now. I need everyone to listen to this and watch this carefully because it's really, really important to see about this. But in fact, I don't know if I can play this on TikTok. So I'm going to have to do a bit of a pause on TikTok and play it on the tube so people can say it there, right? So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to play it on the tube. If you guys want to do that, it's alvarez.crypto. You can see it there, all right? I'm going to pause this. I'll be back. Right. All right. I've paused that. Now, for you guys on the tube, right? This video is absolutely incredible. It's super duper amazing. So you guys can see what's going on here. Let me put this up. All right, I'm gonna play this now. It's only 1 minute long. All right.
I think one of the reasons we're seeing so much tension around Iran is because Iran right now is the big leakage in the system.
How?
So
it's not about their nukes?
This is amazing.
No. So, Iran's central bank counts. One of the reasons it counts is because their oil and energy is very important, including for China.
Yeah.
And that's very important in the BRICS system. What the BRICS system is trying to do is to create independent payment systems. But if you're going to come out with programmable money, with digital IDs that are interoperable globally, and programmable money that controls in each jurisdiction centrally, you can't afford leakage. And so you've got way too much leakage in the system to proceed with what they're trying to do. And Iran is, and the BRIC nations are a sticking point. And certainly Iran's oil, feeding China gives China greater independence.
So you think that one of the motives behind toppling all these governments was the creation of the control grid we're talking.
All right. Now, for those who saw that, right, it was them talking about basically the Clarity Act. if you guys watch my video about the Clarity Act and its effect on the dollar and how it's actually something that's going to support the value of the dollar, the strength of the dollar, and all the things that are going in, right? It makes a very interesting understanding, because it is true, this fear of the BRICS countries. Let me put this stuff up so you can actually see what I'm talking about. This theory that the actual reason for why America went in to Iran was to stop the leakage from what will become the world digital currency, right? This programmable money, this cryptocurrency, this stable coin currency, this financial payment system rail, right? That these countries, such as the BRIC countries, and more importantly, this is where things get very, very weird, right? This is where things get super duper weird. Let me see if I can, let me try, I want to find this, right? Where is this now? 1 second. Here we go. That these BRIC countries, that if you look at the list of countries that were presented, and I'm being very careful what I'm saying right now, the list of countries that that were talked about, that needed to be maintained and removed from the world stage, all of them are not only connected to the BRICS countries, that also have their own central bank system, and they're trying to create their own payment rails. And removing these leaders, removing these economies, and damaging them to a point where it keeps the supremacy of the dollar, and now what will become programmable digital currency, or in another word, stable coins, could really, it sounds a bit crazy, but could really, really have some basis in reality. Because if you think about it, and you actually understand what the Stablecoin Act is going to do, or the Clarity Act is going to do, is that there is an estimate that in the next 5 years, it could be a $300 to $400 trillion system. And if we look at the previous cycle theories, where we're looking at a non-euphoric high Bitcoin, and we're looking into an area where there's going to be an absolute massive level of liquidity coming into this industry, it looks like there could be some serious amounts of liquidity that could potentially come into here. And for that to be the case, I don't know. But starting that word to keep dollar as global currency is a bit too far, don't you think? Why? If we look carefully and we understand, more and more countries were joining the BRICS countries. If we look at and try and understand that that what they were trying to do was in complete understanding of trying to remove the dollar as the reserve currency, why they were trying to trade oil without the dollar, and trying to move away from what could be the downfall and the most important aspect to the USA, and that is the dollar's hegemony, the dollar's strength in the world, and it being and staying as the reserve currency. Because we need to understand this. The only way that USA can actually maintain its debt and the payment on its debt is if that currency is in demand, and if that currency stays the reserve currency, because that is the only way that they're going to even be able to inflate their way out of it. The more demand for it, the more they can inflate out of it, right? Now, if we think about this in the sense of where Bitcoin is going, and where we could see this happening in the period of run that we're in, and we'll just look at total, because that will explain the complete process of what's happening right now. if we think and we understand that this market is looking like it's going to push to its previous range, right? At minimum, I think it's going to do that, especially if you look at Bitcoin. Bro, don't see selling here products with what? I don't know what it is with my streams and people. For a longer term, 1 to 3 year investor, simple strategy, DCA Bitcoin for Britboy. I agree with that process. If you want to do that, that's something that's within your realm to understand. It's a high risk understanding to it, because you never know where this market will go and what will happen in the coming future. But I like that theory, right? Now, if we look at Bitcoin on a larger long-term scale, and we try and understand where we are, and I don't usually like to do this, right? I don't usually like to do this because it's, markets can rhyme, but there's always factors that can change things. Now, if we look at the 1 second, let me just get this. If we look at previous cycles, right? And I'm just going to highlight this 2021, this area here. And we compare it to an understanding of what's happening in the markets right now. And if we do peak to peak, an understanding of movement to movement here, right? We see that, and let's just do that here. Let's just do this here. All right. I'm going to do that. There does seem to be a relevance of similarity going on here. Because if we see high, we see a lower high, right? We see a full capitulation event going into the new year, which we've seen here. We see that the early months, January, February, ends up being a further dip, which we've seen here. Then we see a test of the prior range, right? Test of the prior range, which is where the fall happened from. And if we see that, where the fall happened from is 74 to 75,000. But then, and that's the real then, is when we start to see a further downward event, capitulation event. And that there actually marks a shorter term low, which runs on for a period of time. And then we see the final push down, right? So if we're looking at what the two cycles here, now these can vary and move around in certain aspects, but there are quite interesting similarities to this. If we look at that, we see that there most probably will be a rally to a Britboy. I get it. Keep saying the same thing it doesn't add more value, right? We'll most probably test that zone there around the 74 to 75,000. And then we may see that it could go a bit higher, to be honest. It could go and test this area here, the 81 as well, right? But I think around there, if we look at what's going on with the previous run, we'll have to see what's happening on that scenario. And then most probably we will see further down. At this present moment, I don't care what everyone is saying. Everyone is saying that, this conflict is not an issue. Everyone's saying that this conflict is not going to be a problem. You can see the markets are all good and strong and everything else. There hasn't been a conflict that has not initially caused stress in the market. I don't care what anyone says. The longer this is going to go, we need to understand there are key issues here. The debt is not going anywhere. All of this stuff is going to be a debt issue. If we look at the way that the American system is going to be working, it's going to need to print money. It's going to need to buy munitions. It's just going to be spending, which can be, as I said, short term, a benefit to the market. But the longer this goes, the more painful this is. So the benefit will be a higher probability test of that zone in that area. And then this, a further push down. Quantum computing risk, by the way, Ishi, if you have quantum computing risk, why are you even worrying about cryptocurrency? Worry about everything. I just want to say that. And the point in which the quantum computing can even get to a point where it can affect anything on that level, just whatever. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. You shouldn't be worrying about those type of things. It's, in my humble opinion, that's not the thing to be worrying about, at least for another 10 years. You know what I mean? Whatever. But there's the thing, right? Now, I'm expecting that. A push up to that zone, a potential breakdown, and I genuinely still think that the 38.5 can be hit. I think it really could potentially still be hit, right? And this is the thing that I want everyone to be careful. Don't get caught up in hype in a way where it makes your common sense disappear. Because right now, common sense is out of the window because you're sitting there going, wait, one second. Everything's pumping, right? We're going back to all-time highs. But think of the market environment that we're in right now. Why would it be going up to all-time highs? Yeah, the S&P 500 is doing a bit of a rally. But that doesn't mean anything, right? We still have a debt issue. We still have an inflation. Inflation is still going up. We still have an inflation issue. We still have a whole... I've checked every single major since January. It's interesting, yeah. But this is the thing, right? And this is where I'm going to get to a very, very important factor right now. Yeah, you can play this up and down, left, right, and the other. To be honest, I was dealing with this stuff before I could even have a look at that, right? I'll be back on the charts and everything else for the Alpha Hunters group. By the way, if anyone wants to join the Alpha Hunters group, it's free. It doesn't cost anything, right? You can just sit there and you can see all the charts. You can see all the questions. You can see everything that's going on. There's conversations. There's the lives, a whole bunch of stuff that goes in. I would highly recommend you do it. It's in the links in the bio and you can see everything going on from there, right? Now, what's the situation that I would say is that go there and then we will see what will happen. But I think there's going to be a further event where this thing goes down. I don't think this is finished yet. I really don't think so. Especially as we start getting to the higher levels. That levels are going to be... Sorry? When you make price predictions, what metrics do you use? Fib, Elliott waves. I don't use any of that. I just use experience. I use experience and support level and various other factors that I look at. Now, I think expecting on that way, right? I expect that this thing is going to go up. And to be honest, what's crazy, and I want to show this so people can understand. I just want to show you this. I want to show you this. This is wild, right? I just want to so I can give you the understanding of what type of stuff that I give here, right? I just want to give this to you because I gave this thesis of what I expect is going to happen, and then anyway, whatever. Let me show you this. Right? Let me show you this to you. Where are we? I want to show my thesis of what I expected to happen, what my game plan was, and it is following that game plan absolutely perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Right? It's this. My understanding was to reach to a certain level and USDT dominance to break down from that point there and have a continuous continuation down from there. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. It was all put into the Alpha Hunters group, and you could see everyone there was understanding what was going on. I will leave now. You are clueless. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's such a kind thing to say that. It's very kind of you to say that. Now, right now, as I said, I think that's going to be happening. It's going to go there, test those areas there, because that's the key point of where this breakdown. So it's the test of the major support. That is the major resistance area where we saw the actual breakdown. This area that you see at the 74,500 was an important area where we broke through, and that was what the thesis of this thing, continuation is capitulation event to go down to happen. Now, if we look at what's going on here, I think that area will be tested. And once that area is tested, will be the understanding of where we can go from there. But I'm seeing with this effect, with the war, with what's going on at the moment, I think that that's going to happen for sure. I would be highly surprised if that doesn't happen. Now, does that mean that we can't play it? Of course we can play it. You can move into those directions. You can play the market both ways, remember, up and down, and you can change your thesis. Just because that in my longer term analysis, we have a more of a bearish move down, doesn't mean that short term moves, I cannot move from bearish to bullish to bullish to bearish. And at this present moment, it's looking very, very bullish. The whole market looks very bullish. The market, the graphs look very bullish. If you look at total, we've seen an amazing, look at this. I mean, like, we've had a complete break of the prior range, and then on top of that, we've had a test of the prior range, right? A beautiful understanding of what's going on. Now, does that not mean? By the way, for someone who wants to know about fibs, there you go. I'll show you a fib right now, right? I'll show you a fib. Does that not mean that we could not test the 50% level? I think we could do, for sure. I think we could still get that pullback and a movement up. But when we have strong rallies and strong movements, and when we have a real strength, it's the wrong way around. God, I keep doing that wrong. When we have a strong rally, you usually see a reaction. That's wrong as well. You usually see a reaction off this 382, which, can we say it hit it, right? Can you say we hit it? Potentially, right? That I would not be surprised if this isn't a further continuation and movement from there. I still believe that this area around the 2.39 will be resistance, so we could see a small pullback and then a massive rally from there. What's going on? 1 second. Okay, what's this? Oh, someone sent me about the market. Yeah, doesn't mean that we can't see a further rally and move up from there, but I think this will be a short-term move, a potential test of the prior range, which will probably be around the 2.64 trillion area, and then a further movement down from there. Now, one thing I will say though, right, because I think this is going to also play its role in the S&P 500, we will probably come and retest this area and probably go and test up to the 7,000 above there. It will look like everything looks super bullish, right? Is this? I really, really want the markets to have a bit of a pullback, a market sort of capitulation event. I really want that, because usually what happens, right? Usually what happens, and this is the thing that makes me really happy, is when there are events like this, when we have and it hasn't happened yet, because the market still looks very strong and bullish, right? When we have these movements and these factors where markets pull back, especially the S&P 500, because we still haven't got that yet. I mean, if we look at the Nasdaq, it's a 10-month massive runner. These things are going to correct at some point. In fact, it has to, for its health. It has to. When those moments happen, it is a once in a lifetime situation, right? And if we look at prior historic events, I can't say the words, right? If we look at prior historic events, we see that actually these moments, apart from a few, there are still a few where there could be a huge effect that happens into the market. They usually indicate massive moments. I'm trying to be careful how I say this, because I'm not allowed to say a lot of this stuff, right? Massive opportunity events, right? These usually move into an area where you have an opportunity of a lifetime, because throughout history, if we go through all of that aspect, we see that markets on average gain 10% from the area of where they move down from. if you know what I mean. So if this was to say have an event and go down and test these lower levels of the 664, something happens. Some major credit crisis, crunch, earnings issues, whatever. It's usually a financial institution that goes down, that starts this cascade. If that happens, it is, in my humble opinion, and what I will be doing, will be going on a massive shopping spree. I'll be looking to buy everything I possibly can. In stocks, in crypto, in everything. And this is the thing that I want everyone to really, really understand, right? We're in a scenario right now where things look great. Everyone's going to be super duper bullish when this thing goes and tests certain areas, right? But ultimately, if you zoom out, we are nowhere near in a really good way, right? We are nowhere near in a scenario where this looks like it's in a bullish structure in every sense of the word. I mean, we are fully on a downtrend. We are still on the larger time scales. It ain't looking great, man, right? And the thing is, we're only going to start looking great is if we can get above the 90,000. Not even that. That will be a moment where you go, okay, yeah, things are looking a bit better. And to be honest, to be really honest, to be in a non-bearish move, we kind of have to be above the 100,000 level. So I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying that's not possible, right? It's crypto can do some silly things, but a 43% move to me seems bold. And I would say that. I would say that cleaning out all of this stuff, these areas of inefficiency is more, there's a higher chance of that happening than not, in my humble opinion. Because if we look, I mean, the prior range here, where we saw the bear market bottom, usually hits at the exact point of where it started from. It's a full round trip. Look, you see it here. You see the full round trip there, right? This was less of a round trip, but almost hit the full round trip. There you go. So we could, it could be here as well, the 45, but we could see that area definitely be hit. It's not out of the realm of understanding to see that. But short term, bullish as hell. I think this thing is going to go absolutely crazy soon. Really do. Now, whether it'll be a week, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, that's something that anyone that tells you that can do it, this is not the stream for you, right? I'm here to talk about large macro long-term events and also short-term. So short-term, I think this is looking very, very healthy, like really, really healthy. We look at the structure shift. I mean, technically though, we still haven't broken the prior range, but I think we will. I really do think a close above the 60. That's 69.5. That's a massively bullish move, absolutely huge, and this thing will send like nothing else if it does that. It would go absolutely parabolic. But we'll see. I think a test of the 75 is definitely on the cards here. Now, if we look at some sectors to look at where I think you should be really focusing a lot, of my opinion and my humble thing, is to really look at the tier one stocks at the moment. That's what I would be looking at. You look at the ones that have the money, that have the ability to move in these low liquidity markets where you could really, really play around with what they might. Rally up to 75 to 80, then drop to take out 59, head to 50. I would say, I think the extreme low, I don't know if this will be that point, right? But the extreme low, I think, could be around the 38.5. It sounds ridiculous. It really does. And I'm not going to be, I know that everyone's like, well, but it's rallying. How can you see it going there? I still think it could potentially hit that. And the reason why I think it could potentially hit that is because that number there is the average of the real long-term holders. And the moment that you actually see, right? The moment that you actually see where this market has really bottomed is when you see the exchange of long-term, real long-term holders to short-term holders, right? That's the thing. When you see that movement from long-term to short-term holders, which hasn't happened yet, that capitulation event hasn't happened yet. It has marked, that was the event where that did the 2021, 22 bull market, 2018, 2004, every single time that has been the effect that we need to look at for it to go through. But again, I digress. We'll see where it is. It looks like a clear level of that it needs to hit, and we can move from there. You believe there's more downside here? Not here. I think potentially coming soon. Possibly within the next 3 to 4 weeks. I think this market can withstand 3 weeks of this conflict. I really do. I think at maximum, that's the maximum it can withstand. Because it starts getting into that problem where I said the dollar starts to damage the US economy rather than give it benefit, because the net outflow of oil at the moment is benefiting the USA, and the increase in the value of the dollar is actually just making even more profit. Unless we see some silly orange tweet again. Yeah, that can happen. I see a good rebound here, to be honest. More down later, depends on geopolitics. No, I think it depends on the dollar. That's what I said. I think, I don't know if you just came in, but that's what I said. I think it's upside, and then we'll see what happens around the 74.5 to 75, that area. That area there is going to be extremely, extremely important, and it's going to be a battle zone, because a flip of that will be, in essence, an SR flip of a major zone. It's not even like, that is a major zone. If it starts getting to there, then we will most probably come and test the 90,000. So you go level by level, understanding by understanding, and moving in that way. That's the way that you look. But if we look at what we're seeing right now on the longer term, that doesn't look good, man. Right? That's not a good looking graph structure. Just to be very clear, especially as we have broken this key support area. Although all of this area here is very, very important. Don't get me wrong. All of this is in essence support, because that's a major area of liquidity that we've ascertained. But whether that's going to continue or not is another matter. That's the thing that I would say. So if we look at the grand scheme of things, right? We look at Iran. It's not always good to trade it, but need to understand its effects on the US economy and what can go through, right? We also have issues that inflation is still rising. It's not a good scenario that we're in. At the level also, we have to look at that the dollar being a short-term boost may not always be a positive thing in the longer period of time. We also have issues of the midterms coming through. There's a lot of things that are still going on. But I will say this, and I'll leave it on that note before I go to a few charts that you want me to look at. People are not putting enough emphasis and weight, right, on the Clarity Act. They're really not putting enough weight onto it, because it is the evolution of the dollar and one of the most important continuations of the dollar's supremacy in the world. It is unbelievably important, this thing, and they're going to pass it through. They're going to pass it through. And it is going to change everything. Everything. If there's one thing you do in these lower periods of time is to learn the key factors and what to see, what to play, and what to move forward in. Look at the graphs. Join the Alpha Hunters group. They will teach you all of the things that's going on, right? But the future of this industry, in my humble opinion, is very bright. That's it. Did it go up because people take some money out of silver and put it in the group? No, it went up because of the dollar. Tiny part of me thinks that they will not push Clarity Act anytime soon anyway. I think they will. I genuinely think they're going to. I really do think that they're going to push it through. Because the issue that at this present moment that they're facing is the banks. The banks are causing problems because they know that if this thing is passed, their time is up, right? Their understanding of, creaming the top of every single transaction and making trillions of dollars and being the most powerful system in the world is up. It's up. The whole system will change if this thing goes through. Think of it this way. If you think of it this way, right? Think of a country, because it's a complete power and control. It's complete power and control. If you think about it this way, you're in a country that has a poor economic and political system. The money is not worth a lot, and you want to put it into something that can hold its value, that has a bit of stability and everything else on that side. Will you go to a bank that will make it extremely difficult for you to exchange that money? There are a lot of countries that will not allow you to exchange your currency that you have into a different currency, because the reason why is because their central bank and their monetary system will not allow them to they will not be able to control the economic system of the country. Then what would be the point of a central bank if everyone that has the money, the local currency of that bank, is not utilizing the local currency of that bank, right? If they're using the dollar? What is their central bank increasing and reducing interest rates and doing all this other? What's that going to do? People will just they will not affect them. But having a digitized dollar where it's literally a momentary click to move from your currency into the dollar, right, is going to make it's going to give complete control for USA. And not only that, bolster the dollar like nothing else, because part of the Clarity Act is that it needs to be dollar backed. And what does that mean? Them buying their debt. And them buying their debt will mean only one thing. It will reduce the value of the cost of the US debt, and they will then finally maybe be able to pay it back, which will ultimately cause massive growth and a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I'm so unbelievably bullish for this next run that's coming up. I'm unbelievably bullish for it. I'm literally giddy. I think today I was sitting there. I'm not joking. This is how mad it was. I was sitting there, right, while all this stuff was being done, right? I'm sitting there going, if only people could really understand when is the next run. I think by November we will be at the bottom of this. I genuinely think so. And I think that will be, I will be putting a lot of my wealth into this industry. Not just here, diversifying across all. I bought the last dip with Gus. By the way, you're killing it. I love how you're doing. You're a proper trader, man. I love it. I love what we've developed of you. But if anyone wants to join, they should join the Advantage group. It's free. Last week you said we may be the local bottom. I said the local bottom. Frank, I'm gonna stop rage baiting me. I said local bottom, right? Because we've taken that this way. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the situation is. I still think that the lower level it can be definitely it. This chart is the Bitcoin chart that we're looking at right now. Now let's have a look. What else do you want me to look? Do you want me to look at any coins? Anything else you want me to see? Give my opinion where I think they will going to be going. I think they're all going to be going up. To be honest, we might have a small little pullback tomorrow, but I think we're all going up. Look. Tell me, anything else you want me to look? TRX. Yeah, TRX has been having a bit of a slow move, to be honest, right? Let's have a look. Let's have a look at some graphs. It's weird. When I look at graphs, the viewership goes down. But when I talk about the greater macro aspect of the economy, it's a completely different thing. Yeah, it's surprising that TRX, but man, this looks super bullish. It's super simple, right? You think you will hit 4K in the next 3 months. I would be very doubtful that will happen. Very, very doubtful. You're looking at a doubling? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's very simple. Super, super simple of this. Like to be... yeah, here we go. It's even marked. It's just a Monday. This needs to regain the Monday high. That's it. Simple as that. It needs to. what you might get is this. You probably get this with this, right? You probably get it up here, come down to possibly here, and then break out like that. Something on that level. But if it breaks this area, the 0.2831, it will rally. It will rally for sure. Right, what else are we looking at? Can you look at Bitcoin? Yes. Okay, I'll look at Bitcoin. As I said, Bitcoin, I think, will go to around the 75,000, that area there. Brett, because it's a signal coin. You want me to look at Brett? I have an issue with Brett. I can't. I just. Anyway. Again, looks super duper strong. All the stuff looks really strong. Although it has, I will say this, right? And I want to be cautious here. I will say this. Right? USDT dominance, if it regains the 7.857% area, we could be in for a deeper correction. It must not regain that. We'll see. It must not regain that. If it regains that, that's a bit of a problem. We could get a bit more of a deeper correction. But at this present moment, everything looks super bullish. Yeah, I mean, that's my only worry here. Yeah, that's my only worry. By the way, for anyone that's here that wants to understand, USDT dominance has a inverse relationship with the markets, right? So if the USDT dominance is going up, USDT dominance measures the percentage of the cryptocurrency market, how much of a percentage of that is in stables, which is USDT dominant, and that's the largest stable. I mean, there's also USDC, but USDT is the largest, so that's what you look at to see it. So as this goes up, it means more people are moving out of the of coins into basically stable. And that's the way it works in that way. And that's where we can have a bit of a problem. We need this to reject from this point. If it doesn't reject from this point, we could see a further deeper correction. And that could be to the 8.067 area, potentially. Yeah, around that area. Careful, watch that carefully. Yeah. Yeah, watch that carefully. But on that note, I don't know. Brett's a bit of a problem one for me, right? Because I know the creator of Brett. I know what happened to Brett, and I really don't want to talk about that. Anyway, analysis on gold. Please explain why. Pull back to there. Let's have a look at gold. Because of the dollar. It pulled back because the dollar went up. That's why, right? The dollar went up. Gold and dollar have an inverse relationship as well. Somewhat. I mean, even though the dollar is now it's traded like a currency, right? So you have to be very careful. But I would not be surprised if you look at the pairs here. If you look at gold against the dollar, do I have it here? Don't have it here. I'll have a look at it in a second later. But as the dollar goes up, gold will go down. But I'm telling you, I am unbelievably bullish on gold. There is no way that this level of stuff that's happening in the world is not going to make the gold go absolutely parabolic. You'd have to look. This is a momentary effect that's happening with gold, right? Momentary, because the dollar is gaining so much strength, and that's because of oil, right? Oil. That's the only reason why. That's the thing. Great look today. Thank you for your efforts. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's nice to see some good people here who aren't just throwing hate at for some reason. But yeah, that's the reason why. What do you think about Sol short term? I think Sol could do. Sol's been moving very. Look, as I said, you need to look at it. If the USDT dominance gains above this 7.875, that area there, if it gets above there and has a full candle close, then we could see everything pull back a bit more. Because do we say that we had a retrace to 50%? No, I mean technically we have. We'll see. It all depends on that. If we start seeing a further capitulation event, we could be a problematic thing. I mean, if we look at the lower time scale here, it's decision time, man. This is decision time for this. I'm gonna, yeah, watch this. I will make a decision once it makes that. It's very difficult right now because it's in a key resistance area. I'm sitting on like 60% cash, so low key praying for the dip. Okay, look, Lamar, and for people who are in the dip, this is what I'm going to. I like Ethereum if the bill. Yeah, I think if the bill passes, Ethereum is going to be. Yeah, long-term Ethereum 20K. What are you talking about? I'm being genuinely serious. You think that 20K? I'm going to be buying as much Ethereum as I possibly can. If this market does what I think it's going to do, I will be buying as much as I can possibly can. I mean, literally, house prices amount. I'm not joking. Absolute ridiculous amounts, and then just putting in. I'm just going to stake it and wait for 2-3 years, and then leave and I'll buy an island somewhere. I'm genuinely being serious. Good evening, Alice. I'm in late again for work, as most will watch the whole thing tomorrow. Nice studio. Thank you so much, Philip. It means a lot. I appreciate you saying that. I'm glad that people are liking the new digs. You're going to be seeing my 2 statues coming in soon. They're really, I paid a lot of them. They're actually collector. What type of island? That's a minefield question, Lamar. Just don't go there, right? Don't go there. But if I was going to be in that manner, right? So when can we expect to generate? I think I'm going to be waiting a bit more. If you hit billionaire status, don't forget the ones. I will always do the look. Okay, right. I want everyone to be very clear about this, and this is the last time I'm saying this because everyone keeps on like, I do this because it's fun for me. I enjoy it. I genuinely, this industry has given me enough that I can do this for fun, right? And of course, I need to earn something for the efforts and time and the things that I've done. But I do it in a way that hopefully doesn't hurt anyone, and I give more value than I could possibly do in that side. That's my way that I try to do it, right? It's not easy sometimes. I have a wife, and anyone that has a wife or is a wife, whoever is a wife, well done. You're the most important thing in this world, and you drive the world around. Anyone that has a wife knows that driving around needs liquidity. Right? There's liquidity needed. Honestly. We had a very weird conversation the other day with my wife, where she's like, "Oh man, seriously, I have to pay off this bag." I'm like, "What?" I'm just looking at bills and stuff. Like, it's like, why don't you just put on the sweater? Why is this? What? Yeah, you know what I mean. Everyone goes through that kind of thing. So you do what you need to do. It's all cool, right? That's the thing. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, and just giving my opinions. Again, look. There's no such thing as everyone is 100% correct. There's no such thing as everyone's 100% wrong. It's just my opinion. This is how I see it. Other people can see it the opposite way. Other people can look at fibs and a million indicators, and if it works for them, it works for them. This works for me, and works in that manner, right? I'm the way that I trade is I look at money flow and USDT dominance, find key support and resistance areas there, and relate that to the charts that are following that have a positive relationship from there. And if that relationship is working in the right way, then I make a judgment call accordingly and move my trades in that manner. That's the way I am. That's the way I work, and that's the way we move forward. Right. Anything else? Three more tokens you want me to look at, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna move on, brev. But I appreciate everyone that's here. I appreciate all the new subscribers. Has there been any new subscribers? Is there any new subscribers? No one subscribed. Appreciate that. It's very kind of you to not subscribe to the channel. It means absolutely nothing to you, but yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for not doing it. It means a lot. It makes me happy that none of you guys are like, hey, I ain't subscribing to you, bro. I'm here for free entries. That's all I'm here for. At least make that 3,670. Let's just get that. Bro, I get it. Sui, I saw it. Once it gets to 3,570, I will look at Sui. If not, I ain't looking at nothing. I ain't looking at nothing. That million looks a long far away from where I am at the moment, man. Bruh. No? Oh, no, but... Alright, I'll look at H-bar. Alright, let's look at H-bar. Is there on H-bar here? By the way, are you guys liking the new video format as well? Do you like the way that it's all like high quality and stuff? Where's my H-bar? Yeah, very good. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. H-bar. Wow, that's... Man, H-bar is such a market maker coin. Oh my lord. Right, okay. I mean... One second. I hate market maker coins, man, because it's hard to predict exactly what's going on with these. 1 second. Okay. Potentially... If I was to do a play on this, I would look to see the test of this, to see if it can find support of this SR flip zone. Let's get this a bit larger, right? I would look to see the support of here. Yeah. Because look, this area here is an area of very large liquidity, right? Right there. Is it there or there? No, it's there. Let me look at a larger time frame. There. All right. I would say this. I would look for the reaction of this zone here, right, on a lower time scale. Wow, that's huge. 1 second. All right. I would look to see what it does here. Ultimately, this looks relatively bullish because I would not... That looks like a 50% retest of the graph. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, the 618 sits exactly there. All right, okay, cool. Look, I would say this. It will most probably do something like this. Something like that. Like that. That's what I think it will do. In my humble opinion. Yeah, look for that. Something on that move there. If you buy Epstein's Island, can we visit? I am not going to buy that yet. It's too cheap at the moment. Good evening, Iris. I'm late again. I see now. I would say that something on that level, because it is rejecting, which is a good. That's a good sign. I like that. I like that. Reject, boy. Reject. Yeah, something on that level is going to be that. This area here is going to be. This looks bullish. I think this might continue up. Most definitely. Yeah, I think it's going to continue up. I think everything's going to continue up, to be honest. Right. What else do you want me to look at? One more. Am I using bought some Microsoft today, diversification in it? Yeah, Microsoft could be good. What's it called? Software companies are going to be struggling a little bit. Look for companies that have really good earnings, really strong earnings. I would be looking at a lot of how long, generally speaking, up. I think maybe 2-3 weeks. If it's longer than 2-3 weeks, I would expect this market to react quite aggressively. Yeah, a little bit lower down, and then I think a further continuation up from there. What are you saying? Because you're spamming, he will not. Thanks for that. So yeah, I think one or two more weeks of sort of upward, if that, we will see. It all depends on. Look, I know people are disregarding the what's happening in the Middle East, but that what's happening in the Middle East is an issue. What's that? Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you for the 2 follows. That means a lot. Appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. One more coin, and then I'm off. One more coin, I'm off. Is Bitcoin going to push for the 68? I think it could push for the 75. If it gets 68. I genuinely think it could push for the 75. I think this area here is super critical, and because of that, I think it will not. It probably won't break through, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see when we get to that level. But I think up for the timing. RV to $50. I'm gonna say this, right? I'm gonna say this. At this present moment, unless I'm really short term, unless I'm really short term trading, any medium term investments, I'm looking for the tier 1 coins. That's it. That's what I think. I think all tier 1 coins I'm gonna be looking at: Solana, Ethereum, it's called Solana, Ethereum. Yeah, it's coming down. Look, that's interesting. Solana, Ethereum, exchanges, privacy exchanges I'm going to be looking at. All of those type of things I'm going to be looking at. And if anyone thinks that Binance is all gone on this and yeah, that's going to be one of my main things, right? Thank you so much, Cryptus. Appreciate it. Chainlink. All right, I'll look at Chainlink and then we can go from there. Let me look at Chainlink. Link. Where is my link? God, I've got too many coins on here. Where is my link? All right, here we go. All right, let's see what Chainlink is doing. Oh, God, come on, where is it? There we go. All right. Chainlink's. Oh my God, that looks so good. That looks super duper good. Look. Although, has it? Yeah, it's closed above. Okay, good. On the 1 hour, it has closed above. So we'll most probably get maybe some bearish movement on this. I would say, has it tapped the 50% yet? No, I think there is a chance that this thing could go down. Yeah. Okay. I think this could go down and test potentially the Monday mid of the monthly open, this area here. And if we were to do this, let's get this a bit larger. That sits almost perfectly. Almost perfectly. Yeah, I think a bounce from there is a definite possibility. That's what I think, around that area there, around the 8.885 to 8.860, around there. Solana, what do you think? Let me look at Solana. Let's have a look at Solana. Solinit brev. All right, let's have a look at Solana. Yeah, I think it's still a bit more further downside as well on this. Not a lot. I'm not talking about huge things. I'm talking about what is necessarily a 50% retrace. Yeah, again, to around here, this zone here. Yeah. Here, around there, right there. I think it bounced from that zone for sure. Okay, I am going to call it a day today. I hope you guys are good and happy and understand that I've given some value to all you guys from all the things that I'm going through. I hope you like the new digs and the new place and all that kind of stuff and my Banksy. We could go from there. I appreciate everything. I thank you so much for all the people that liked, for people on the tube who are joining in. Thank you so much. To appreciate that's going on. And you guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you for being here and supporting all that kind of stuff. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day and we can continue on this crazy cycle of cryptocurrency that we're going through, and we can go from there. You got a Banksy? You never said. I never said. Have you seen my Banksy? All right, I appreciate it. All right, thank you so much. Also, by the way, for people who are in the Alpha Hunters group, you guys should definitely check it out. It's free. There's a whole free section to it. It basically has 80% of everything. The copy trading will be live hopefully today or tomorrow. We've had some issues with just trying to set everything up. There's so much stuff going on in the background. It's not easy to do. All right, appreciate it. Take care, guys. Love, affection, all that kind of jazz, and I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Peace. Right, okay, see you later, and I'll see you guys later on the tube as well. Appreciate it. Press the bell button, all that kind of stuff, and it means a lot that you guys are here and